Have you ever wondered why movie theaters can charge $15 or even $20 for a ticket and then ask you to pay another $10 for popcorn? The surprising part is that the ticket isn't always where the theater makes its best money. At first, a movie theater seems like a simple business. Customers buy tickets, sit down, watch a movie, and leave. But behind that simple experience is a complicated business model involving studios, distributors, employees, rent, electricity, and food sales. And then there's the famous movie theater popcorn, a bucket that might seem incredibly expensive compared with ordinary popcorn at a grocery store. So why does popcorn cost so much at the movies? The answer has almost nothing to do with the price of corn itself. The basic idea seems simple. A theater gets a movie, provides a screen and seats, sells tickets, and operates a concession stand. But every one of those activities has costs, and the theater has to make enough money to cover all of them. Think of a movie theater as a machine. The movie attracts customers. The ticket gets them through the door. The concession stand increases how much each customer spends. Premium seats and special experiences can increase it even further. Here's the first important detail. The theater usually doesn't own the movie it's showing. The film belongs to a studio or distributor, and the theater receives permission to show it under an agreement. That means when you buy a ticket, the theater doesn't necessarily keep the entire amount. A portion of the ticket revenue can go back to the movie distributor. The exact split depends on the movie, the contract, and other factors. Now follow a typical customer. They buy a ticket, walk into the theater, find their seat, and then perhaps stop at the concession stand. From the theater's perspective, this entire journey is an opportunity to generate revenue. Imagine paying $15 for a ticket and then spending another $15 on popcorn, a drink, and candy. Suddenly, your total value to the theater is much higher than the ticket price alone. The ingredients used to make popcorn and soda are relatively inexpensive compared with their selling prices, but the selling price also helps cover labor, equipment, rent, utilities, waste, and other operating expenses. So when you pay a premium price for popcorn, you're not simply paying for kernels. You're paying for convenience, the theater experience, and a product being sold in a location where you are already spending your evening. Once you're inside the auditorium, you're a relatively captive customer. You could leave and find cheaper food somewhere else, but then you'd miss part of the movie. That makes the concession stand extremely valuable. Convenience is a powerful economic force. You're already inside the theater, you're excited about the movie, and the popcorn is right there. For many customers, paying more is easier than leaving and searching for cheaper food. But theaters have another unusual problem. Their inventory is the seats. And unlike a product sitting on a shelf, an empty seat cannot be saved for tomorrow. Once the movie starts, that opportunity is gone forever. Imagine a 200-seat auditorium with only 30 people inside. The theater still has to run the projector, cool the room, pay employees, and operate the building. But most of its potential seating revenue is simply unused. Now imagine the same auditorium completely full. The building is already operating, but hundreds of customers are buying tickets, and many are also buying food. This is where the theater's economics can become much stronger. An empty seat at 7 o'clock can't be sold at 8 o'clock as the same product. The screening is finished. That's why theater managers care so much about occupancy and carefully plan how many showtimes each movie receives. This also explains why ticket prices can vary. A quiet afternoon screening may be cheaper, while a popular weekend evening can cost more. The theater is responding to differences in customer demand. On a weekday afternoon, many people are working or studying. The theater may have plenty of empty seats. Lower prices or special promotions can encourage people who otherwise wouldn't come to buy a ticket. Saturday night is different. More people are free. Families and friends are going out. And popular movies can attract huge crowds. When demand is high, theaters have less reason to offer deep discounts. Then a blockbuster arrives. Suddenly, Thousands of people may want to see the same movie. The theater can respond by adding more showtimes and assigning larger auditoriums to that film. A popular movie can run throughout the day. Morning, afternoon, evening, and late-night screenings can all be added. Every additional screening creates another opportunity to sell seats and concessions. If demand is strong enough, a movie can occupy several screens at the same theater. One film may suddenly take over a large portion of the building because the theater believes those screens can generate more revenue there. More screenings mean more customers entering the building, and every additional customer represents more than a potential ticket sale. They might also buy popcorn, drinks, candy, or a premium upgrade. But the opposite can happen. If a movie disappoints audiences, the theater may have nearly empty screenings. Those empty seats still represent lost opportunities, while many operating expenses continue. Movie theaters have many fixed costs. Rent, insurance, equipment, certain employee expenses, maintenance, and other overhead costs don't suddenly disappear when attendance falls. Some expenses rise with customer traffic, such as food and certain cleaning costs. But many other expenses remain relatively stable. This makes high attendance extremely important because additional customers can contribute more revenue without proportionally increasing every cost. A theater also consumes a lot of energy. Projectors, giant screens, sound systems, air conditioning, lighting, refrigeration, and kitchen equipment all require electricity. Even an almost empty auditorium still needs to operate. Behind the scenes are employees keeping everything running. There are ticket workers, concession employees, managers, cleaning staff, maintenance workers, and technical personnel. A theater is much more than a room with a screen. Managers have to match staffing with demand. Too many employees during a quiet afternoon increases costs. Too few workers during a blockbuster weekend creates long lines and a poor customer experience. That's why theaters increasingly offer premium experiences. Instead of selling every seat at the same price, they create different levels. Standard seats serve price-sensitive customers, while premium seats target people willing to pay more. Luxury recliners are a good example. They use more space than traditional seats, but customers may be willing to pay significantly more for comfort, legroom, and a better overall experience. This creates an interesting trade-off. A theater might have fewer seats after installing recliners, but if each customer pays more, total revenue can remain strong. The goal isn't always maximum capacity, it's maximum value per seat. Premium sound is another selling point. Powerful speakers and carefully designed acoustics can create an experience that is difficult to reproduce with ordinary home equipment. The giant screen is also a major advantage. A movie that looks impressive on a huge screen can feel completely different from watching the same content on a television or phone. This is exactly what theaters are competing against today. At home, you can watch entertainment on a TV, laptop, or phone. The theater has to provide something beyond simply displaying a movie. Streaming services changed the customer's expectations. People became used to convenience, huge libraries, and watching entertainment without leaving home. That created enormous pressure on traditional cinemas. So theaters have to answer a simple question: why should someone get in their car, drive to a theater, buy a ticket, and spend money on food when they could stay on the couch? The answer is the shared experience. Watching a huge movie with hundreds of other people creates excitement that doesn't exist in exactly the same way when you're alone at home. Even before the movie begins, theaters become marketing platforms. Trailers introduce audiences to upcoming releases and can create excitement for movies that haven't even been released yet. A successful trailer can create anticipation, and anticipation can create ticket demand. The marketing system and the theater system work together. Marketing creates interest, while the theater provides the place where customers spend money. Opening weekend can be extremely important. A popular movie may attract huge crowds in its first few days, allowing theaters to fill screens. sell concessions, and maximize revenue while demand is at its highest. But here's a hidden concept: screen time is limited. Every auditorium can show only one movie at a time. That makes screen time a valuable resource that theater managers must allocate carefully. Managers constantly decide which movie deserves the biggest auditorium, which movie needs more showtimes, and which one should be moved to a smaller screen. They're essentially managing limited real estate by the hour. If one movie is selling most of its seats while another is barely attracting anyone, the successful movie becomes more valuable. The theater can shift screens and showtimes toward the stronger performer. Now we return to the concession stand. Popcorn, soda, candy, nachos, and other snacks can turn a simple movie visit into a much larger transaction. Compare two customers. One buys only a ticket. Another buys a ticket, popcorn, soda, and candy. The second customer generates much more total spending, which is why concessions are so important. Combo deals make this even easier. Instead of asking customers to decide separately about popcorn and drinks, the theater packages them together. Customers may feel they're getting a deal while the theater increases the total purchase. Concession stands are also designed around convenience and impulse buying. When customers see food, smell popcorn, and have only a few minutes before the movie starts, they're more likely to make quick purchases. That famous popcorn smell isn't just part of the atmosphere. Fresh popcorn can attract customers toward the concession area. It's a simple sensory experience that can encourage additional spending. But food sales also create risk. If a theater prepares too much popcorn or other food and demand is lower than expected, some inventory can be wasted. That means forecasting demand is important. Managers use information such as movie popularity, day of the week, showtime, holidays, and previous attendance to estimate how much food they'll need and how many employees should be scheduled. Before a major movie night, employees may prepare for heavy traffic. Popcorn machines run continuously, drinks are stocked, and staff members get ready for long lines of customers. But if the line becomes too long, there's another problem. Some customers may decide not to buy anything because they don't want to miss the beginning of the movie. So speed matters just as much as inventory. Location is another major economic factor. A theater inside a busy shopping center can benefit from surrounding restaurants, stores, parking, and other entertainment options. In fact, a theater can act as an anchor for an entire commercial development. People come for the movie, but they may also eat dinner, shop, grab coffee, or spend time with friends. Think about a typical night out. A group might eat dinner, walk around the mall, and then watch a movie. The theater becomes part of a much larger entertainment experience. Another customer might go shopping first and then watch a movie. This is valuable because the theater benefits from the traffic generated by the surrounding businesses, while the businesses benefit from people coming to the area. But streaming continues to change the economics. The theater can no longer assume that people will automatically leave home whenever they want entertainment. At home, you have convenience. You can pause the movie, choose from thousands of options, avoid traffic, and eat whatever you already have in the kitchen. The theater has to compete with all of those advantages. That's why many theaters are becoming more premium. Better seats, better food, better sound, larger screens, and special events can make the trip feel worth the extra money. Theaters can also show more than traditional movies. Special events give customers new reasons to visit, even when there isn't a major Hollywood release dominating the box office. Concert films are a great example. A music performance can be transformed into a cinematic event, allowing fans to experience it on a huge screen with powerful sound and a large audience. The same idea can apply to sports. A theater can turn a giant screen into a shared viewing experience, creating another source of revenue beyond ordinary movie screenings. Horror movies demonstrate the value of a shared audience particularly well. When everyone in the room reacts together, laughs, screams, or jumps, the experience becomes part of the entertainment. For major blockbuster releases, the theater can become an event. Fans may want premium seats, giant screens, powerful sound, and opening night excitement that simply doesn't feel the same at home. This creates something extremely valuable: urgency. If everyone is talking about a movie right now, people may feel they need to watch it before someone spoils the story. Social media makes this even stronger. One viral scene or major spoiler can suddenly convince someone that they should see the movie immediately rather than waiting weeks or months. Word of mouth is another powerful force. One person loves a movie, tells 3 friends, those friends tell more people, and suddenly a successful movie can generate its own momentum. But word of mouth can also work against a movie. If audiences hate it, they may warn their friends not to spend money on it. Empty seats can quickly follow negative reactions. That's what makes the theater business risky. Managers don't know exactly which movies will become hits. They have to make decisions based on forecasts, marketing, audience interest, and historical patterns. Theaters also want customers to return. Loyalty programs can reward frequent visitors with points, discounts, free items, or other benefits. A repeat customer can be much more valuable than someone who visits only once. If a person visits several times a month and buys concessions each time, their total spending can become significant. This is called customer lifetime value. Instead of asking how much someone spends today, the theater asks how much that customer could spend over many future visits. Membership programs can make this even more powerful. A customer pays regularly for access or benefits, and then may visit more often. Each visit creates additional opportunities for concession and premium spending. The future theater may look very different from the old-fashioned cinema. Luxury seating, premium screens, restaurants, special events, and better technology could become increasingly important. Instead of being simply a place to watch a movie, the theater can become a complete entertainment destination. The more reasons customers have to visit, the more opportunities the business has to generate revenue. The basic formula is surprisingly simple. More customers create more opportunities. Higher spending per customer increases revenue. Premium experiences increase value. And strong occupancy helps spread fixed costs across more people. So the movie theater is really a combination of several businesses: ticket sales, food and beverage, premium experiences, memberships, advertising, and special events. The movie gets people through the door, but the entire ecosystem keeps the business running. The next time you buy a movie ticket and an expensive bucket of popcorn, remember what you're actually paying for. You're paying for the screen, the seats, the employees, the electricity, the movie experience, and the convenience. The movie brings you in, but the experience is what makes the business work.